Welcome to Electric Gugak, presented by CultureHub as part of the Korea Project 2021, supported by the Korea Foundation. I am your host, Iris Eugene Jung, and I am joining from the CultureHub LA studio located in downtown Los Angeles, and it's 6 p.m. here on Friday. I am honored and thrilled to host this live multi-locational performance featuring 3 performances from New York City, Spokane, Washington, and Seoul, Korea. These performances combine Korean traditional music as well as the stories written by the Korean artists with new media practice and also highlight the new expressions of Korean composition. The Korea Project, along with this concert, also present an online gallery called Agora, and the gallery will open right after this show, and you can view the exhibition through our Culture Hub website, and it will last until the end of the month, November 30th. So now we're about to begin our first performance of Electric Gugak, and it's by Avin Kang and Jessica Kenny. Avin is a composer and multi-instrumentalist, and Jessica is a vocalist and composer as well. They are presenting live from Laboratory Spoken, and their performance is in 2 parts, echolocations and terpsichore choral dance. Please welcome Avin Kang and Jessica Kenny.
And Peter.
All right, so that was a beautiful performance by Avin Kang and Jessica Kenny. The next performance we're about to see is called A Ritual for COVID-19 by Jin Hi Kim. Jin Hi is an electrical mungo virtuoso and Guggenheim Composer Fellow. She created this piece in memory of millions of deaths worldwide during the pandemic. So, without further ado, Jin Hi Kim performing live from New York. All right, that was a ritual for COVID-19 by Jin Hi Kim. This performance was developed within the program called Experiments in Digital Storytelling by CultureHub and La Mama, and we are really happy to be able to present it both online and live in the New York studio. Okay, so our last performance, we're going to see the performance from Korea by the project team called Hegum. It's a team of musicians and media artists from Seoul Institute of the Arts, Korea, which is Culture Hub's one of the founding organizations. The name of the performance is 팔음, which in Korean means 8 sounds. Please welcome the project team Hegum. All right. So that was 팔음 by project team 이해금. Thank you so much for your performance. So now we're going to bring all the performers here with us to briefly talk about their work. Before I do that, actually, let me introduce the Hegum team very quickly. We have Dae-hong Kim, Director of the Performance, Jung-hwan Kim and Philip Liu for Creative Technology and Media Arts, Sonu Park and Jiyeon Ha for Hegum Performance, and Hyunwoo Lee, Min Hyung Jung, and Jun Young Moon for video. So I think we are all here. So, congratulations to all of you for a beautiful performance. That was such great sound and visuals and aesthetics. So, thank you so much for participating in the Electric Gugak concert. So, let's begin with Avin and Jessica. So, Avin and Jessica, can you tell us a little bit about your work, the inspiration behind your performance?
Sure, thank you. So as you said, there were two sections. One of them was composed by me, that was Terpsichore Choral Dance, and one was composed by Jessica, Echolocation. My part, uh, Terpsichore Choral Dance, is based closely on a section from the book Dictee by Teresa Kyung Cha, who is one of the great writers of her era. It was from the 1980s, and she is a Korean American author, so kind of one of the greatest, not just great Korean American writers, but great writers. But there's a feeling there. Terpsichore choral dance would kind of describe the movement, kind of alchemical movement, which we tried to follow, which I tried to follow in the video and the music. So you couldn't see us playing, but we were there making the music and live with the video.
And the second half of the piece was a piece that I wrote in a kind of improvisational structure. I've been really interested in this one poem for many years that I read in an anthology of Korean literature translated by Peter H. Lee. Um, and I think he actually revised that translation over time for another anthology. Um, so I was thinking a lot about him as a translator and and also that role of translation in transmitting concepts and culture over time and over across different cultural boundaries and how challenging that is, but how inspiring and what a worthy risk to really examine all the facets of what happens when those translations occur. It's easy to just say it's impossible, and in one sense, I do agree with that. But I love how he dealt with that, and his first translation was he said it was very inspired by Dante, um, and the poem itself is by an 8th century Buddhist priest, Korean Buddhist priest, and he wrote this poem about the experience of meeting a band of thieves in the mountains. And in the time of Gautama Buddha, this also happened, and um, so this is kind of almost like a story that keeps getting re-experienced in different eras by different people. So he was inspired by that also to be like a kind of journey into the underworld, to see the point of view of the thieves. Or what I actually came to in my own musical process was the idea that our senses are thieves and they convince us that we know what's true, but actually they're stealing the reality from us. So, in a way, this relationship with technology that we're all working with And to some extent, we don't even have a choice. It's just fundamental part of our lives. We have to deal with it. Um, I think it's good for us to recognize that it steals our senses and gives them back to us in another form. And I think when we're looking at those processes, it can be very creative. So I also tried to bring in some of my admiration for Korean vocal forms, which I'm not a very knowledgeable practitioner of, but I have taken lessons, and I'm a huge fan of Kagop, of Shijo, and um, all kinds of Korean literary recitation forms. So I use some of those melodies to try to honor Yongjae, the priest, and Peter, the translator, um, and also that process of the how we deal with our feelings and our perceptions and the illusions that they set up for us. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing the stories behind your performance. It was really beautiful. And Jessica, your voice is really, really beautiful. So, moving on to Jin Hee in New York. Hi, Jeannie. Your performance was really powerful and emotional. And can you tell us a little bit about the story of your performance and where the root of where it started from?
Yes, first of all, congratulations to everybody. It was such a wonderful program. Everybody come up with the great creative ideas and it's inspiration for me too. We went through a very difficult time during the pandemic. Still, we are dealing with this pandemic. Since March 2020, when we had a lockdown, and I was, watching all the news and horrible images about death and around the world, and maybe not so much in America because we live in such a kind of closed society, and you just focus on yourself. But then in other countries, for instance, India, Brazil, Peru, and I see there's so many people, stacks of dead body on the streets or cemetery. They cannot really deal with this, and the image was striking, and I decided to collect all the images online actually. So I've been collecting over 500 or something, but then I use probably nearly 300 photos in my piece. So that's the story of this piece. I don't have to say so much, but the picture, the image you saw, it's a real image. That's the real story of what we have gone through around the world. But as an artist, I am also inspired by Korean shamanistic Shikingut. That means that the shaman would do special ritual for the deceased. She would wash that body, not body, but the spirit wash, so then these people can go to the peaceful journey. So she using a long white cloth, and the white cloth has the nuts. So she released all the nuts. These nuts symbolizing pain, grief, trauma, all those bad things before dealing with the death. And so this shaman would all release whole thing, and then eventually through this beautiful unfolded cloth, the deceased will take a peaceful journey. So I was highly inspired by that concept, and so today I don't have any participant, and so I have to use symbolic the cloth when I was singing. But then you also saw the projected image that I really work with a 25-yard white cloth, and so I was trying to release all the pains. So basically, we are releasing the grief together in this piece.
Thank you so much for sharing. I think we have a question from the audience in New York.
Okay. Check one. Can you guys hear me? Okay. Okay. First and foremost, it was an incredible evening. I'm so glad I came out. I haven't gone to a concert or event in a long time because of the pandemic. But one of the most powerful, these, uh, we're a couple. It's really been, tonight was a very beautiful evening of celebration and evolution. Um, so I'd love to. Obviously, COVID is here for a while. There's composers like Penderecki who did Requiem for or Threateney for the victims of Hiroshima, for example. I'd love to ask everyone. Also, I was artist in residence at Seoul Institute a couple of years ago, so it's really beautiful to see the students there. Um, I'd love to ask, what do you guys think about the evolution of instruments right now? Because everyone is using digital technologies and traditional Korean instruments, which is a very powerful synergy. Korea has been doing a tremendous amount of innovation around traditional instruments plus technology. You guys are not BTS, pop approach. Tonight was very non-BTS. It was very. So I'd love to hear if you could talk about the collision between contemporary technologies and the traditional forms. And sorry to bring up the Teresa Hakyong-cha thing, but her book Dictate was amazing. Regretfully, she ended life too early. I think she was on a really amazing trajectory. She was inspired by philosophers like Jean Baudrillard and really interesting. We're here in New York, a couple blocks from the Puck Building, which is at Broadway. I'm sorry, Lafayette and Houston. It's a crazy story about her. But she was just at the beginning of her career. Really, she's not very well known here. Anyway, but she should be more well known. So it's really powerful to see a composition dedicated to her. But hopefully that's not too much of a big question, but just collage between contemporary instruments and technologies. Just would love to hear your thoughts on that.
Jin Hee or Tae-hung, would you like to answer to that question, Jenny?
So I had my electric common in 1989. It's 3 decades ago. And I made the first electric common at the time in Korea. They didn't think about electric music with their traditional music. Actually, I was the first one was doing that. And it was a sensation. And also the older generation, my masters, my teachers, was shocked by that. But then at the same time, younger generation thought that was an interesting idea, and then they sort of follow me too. And for a long time, over 2 decades, they didn't know what I was doing, because I am very well trained traditional musician back there, and then coming to America, and my interest was cross-cultural. And so my cross-cultural work was that the Korean philosophy, Korean mythology with American technology, and that's basically merging here. And so they didn't know what I'm doing for a long time. But obviously, in 25 years later, I see younger generation doing what I am doing. So it's, yes, I made that kind of a beginning. If you think that as a trouble, then I made a trouble. But yeah, so electric come and go. At the time, 1989, there was not much technology to make really beautiful instruments like this. So I had a very funky one, half the size of it, because they told me that, the common string is silk, made of silk. They said, you cannot have pickups, you must have metal strings. So I changed all the strings into metal. And they said, you don't need a soundboard, electric instrument, just need own instruments. So I made half the size and the metal string, and then I plugged into whatever at the time, little device. It sounded like an electric guitar. So I didn't really care for, but then I really work. There's no other option at the time. So I worked for 10 years, and that 10 years gives me a lot of opportunity to think about it more deeper. How can I make this electric komungo, not electric guitar? And then 1998, and there was the computer program is available. Max MSP come out, and people are using this live interactive program. And so there was a really good turning point that I started thinking that new instruments. So I actually rebuilt instruments more like original. I back to the original size. I use the silk string there, and then I use a different pickup this time because they developed a lot of sophisticated pickup by then. So then I developed this common goal as it is now. But then when you have instruments, this is not the big ending. You really have to create music. And all those computer programs designed for Western instruments. Nobody was thinking about Korean musical instruments. And so I had to work with Alex Noyes, he's a brilliant guy. Just making all the program was commercially available. We retuned, and basically customized. And that's the way the sound is like this. I was keep looking for what would make, what kind of sound and what kind of a music I could create on the electric komungo. It's a long journey. Yeah.
Thank you, Jin Hee. I think Daehong from Korea, he can also, add to what Jin Hee said. He developed electric hegum. Daehong is sitting with two beautiful hegum players. Can you tell us a little bit about your development of hegum instrument?
All right. What this was my first electric hegon I developed 9 years ago. I think this is what Kim Jin-hee been through, but we put the sensors put in the hegon, and it detects the vibrations, and I put it some gadgets and kits, so it detects the movement of the player. So when you play the hegon, when you tilt it, it gives the different effects and the mount. And well, the player really liked it, so I saw the potential of it. And then last year, we developed this electronic hegon. It's all digital with a laser. So it detects the hand movement, and this is bow. So it's like inner string, outer string, and how you swing with it. It gives you different the volumes and velocity, and oh, so since this is all digital, I can make any sound with it. Um, this comparison, this is really based on analog. This is based on digital. The advantage of both of them, I can make any sound with the digital or detects the movement. This advantage of both of the instrument is they need computer, so which is the artist need engineer like me. So for this tonight show, I developed new Hagum. I made the special pickup. Still, I have to develop more. So the Hagum player can play Hagum like normally what they do, but it can send the signal to any guitar effects or any vocal effects, so it can change the sound. So it can be really intuitive. Yeah, that's what I've been through, and I'm sure Kim Jin-hee was like really ahead of us, like 20 years ago.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, so thank you again for everyone for your beautiful performance. I really appreciate it. And I think this is the end of the show. I just want to say a few things before we close. Special thanks to the Korea Foundation for supporting this event, and also to our founding organizations, Lamama Experimental Theater and Seoul Institute of the Arts. And I just want to say this in Korean very quickly. 오늘 행사를 가능하게 해주신 한국국제교류재단과 서울예술대학교 그리고 라마마 실용창작단에 감사드리고 오늘 참여해주신 교수님들 그리고 학생 여러분들, 스태프 여러분들 진심으로 감사드립니다. Okay, so the final reminder, we have an online gallery open. I think it should be up and running now, so please check out. And it was a great pleasure to host the show. And I hope you enjoyed the weekend. Thank you for joining us.